Theon sat in the dark of his room, comforted by only a small lit candle fire. His heart was full of turmoil and pain. Just a short 2 weeks prior, he was sent to the Iron Islands, his home, one that he had not seen in over a decade, by the closest thing he had to a brother, Robb Stark. The newly crowned King of the North, who now waged war against the Lannisters, was starting to now be drawn into multiple directions, and Robb was in need of allies. The Riverlands was taking the brunt of the Lannister armies, and Robb was moving into the Westerlands to combat a second army. Dorne and the Vale had chosen to stay neutral from the fight, while both Renly and Stannis had raised armies and aimed to meet each other before an assault on King's Landing. So now here he was, alone on Pike, having been sent by Robb to secure an alliance with his father between the two. If only it were that simple. Upon Theon's arrival, he was met with contempt by his father, who deemed him unworthy upon immediately seeing him. Then there was the fact that his sister Asha dared not introduce herself even upon his advances toward her, leaving him with a confused feeling. Though truly the worst thing to happen to him upon his nightmarish homecoming would be that his father, Balon Greyjoy, had informed him of his grand plan. Balon was declaring himself king of the Iron Islands once more, and thus instigating another Greyjoy rebellion. Theon had learned that Euron had taken a fleet south and was going to begin raids along the Reach in Dorne, while Victorian himself was sent to raid the Crownlands and Stormlands. Now Balon wanted Asha and Theon to begin raids upon the north, as there would be no defense against their assault with the war raging on. Balon pleaded with Theon to forsake the ones he called family, as he was only ever a prisoner to them, and now he was home. It was time for him to take his place and become the Greyjoy he was meant to be, and not be some whipped dog of the Starks. Theon could feel his heart torn as he always wished to belong to some sort of family. Yet it was true that the Starks, more importantly Ned and Catelyn, always reminded him of his status. Yet still there was Robb, Jon, Sansa, and even the others, Bran, Rickon, and Arya. They all saw and loved him like a true brother. The proof even coming from the trust and friendship Robb showed him in this war. None of his uncles ever came for him. His own father gave him away rather than fight to the death like a true Ironborn, and bent the knee. The only true innocent he felt in this situation was Asha, but as Theon continued to think on the matter, the stranger that was his sister was not enough for him to betray who he considered his true family. In the middle of the night, Theon drafted his letter. It detailed all of Balon's plans and urged Robb to head back north to keep it safe from the Ironborn and avoid losing hold on the north. He prepared the Raven and sent it in the middle of the night, but Theon knew that he would need to do more than that. He was being sent north with Cleftjaw and a crew as part of a raiding fleet with Asha. If it became knowledge of his plan, he would either be arrested or killed by his crew. So Theon set sail with his crew, but with enough bravado and minor convincing with his crew of the potential wealth they would attain, Theon would be able to convince them to attack Winterfell, pretending to be a part of Robb's army and that the alliance was successful, thus giving them clear access. Unfortunately for Theon, his raven would never reach Robb, as it was struck down by a Bolton bannerman who would take the message to Roose Bolton, who at this point was in the motion of formulating his own master plan. In the dead of night, Theon would be met by a number of dreams, each one more terrible than the last, all of which involved the capture and torment of either the Greyjoys or Northmen. Though eventually the time came for his plans to come to fruition, Theon and his men would enter Winterfell, and they would be welcomed with open arms. With the ruse of the Ironborn and Northern Alliance being a success, Theon would round up a number of notable people into the master bedroom. It would be Bran, Rickon, Sam, Pip, Roderick Castle, Asha, Mr. Lewin, and Hodor. It would be here that Theon would tell them all of the true state of peril they were all in. At the same time of the feasting, it would be Cleftjaw who, outside of the courtyard, would begin their assault upon the castle. Hearing the crying and screaming as the castle guards and servants were being slain, Theon knew they were out of time. As they attempted to flee, Roderick Castle would be the first to hold the stairway in the castle, refusing to let any up the stairs until his last breath, and giving his life in the end. Mr. Lewin and Hodor would also risk their lives as they barricaded an escape route through the crypts, sacrificing themselves. Theon, with the help of Pip and the direwolves, would kill 3 Ironborn that followed them into the woods. Asha carried Rickon on their back, while Sam did the same with Bran. They all could see the fire and smoke rising from the castle as they fled. Whatever was in store for them now was beyond thought, as now only danger was around them. Over the coming days, they would forage and creep through the northern woods as they headed farther and farther north. With Robb in the south, Theon believed that the only place safe would be with Uncle Benjen at the wall. Yet, as fate would have it, along the way, they would be set upon by two young souls, Jojen and Mira Reed. They would claim they followed Jojen's dreams, as he apparently had green sight, and that is how they found them. Whatever the case, having them around proved quite useful for the group as they journeyed further north. It would be during this time Theon would even begin to grow closer to Mira by talking to her about her time growing up with her brother and his powers, and his time as both a brother and prisoner of the Starks. Yet luck would not stay on their side forever. Upon nearing the wall, they would be driven past it as they came across a wildling raiding party. It would be during this skirmish that Theon would witness the group split away, heading into the wilds. After killing their attackers, Theon would reunite with Shaggy Dog and Summer. They would lead him to the others, and through the trees, he would see the group was captured by a band of Night's Watchmen. Something about them was off and wrong, though. It would be here Theon would unite with a ranger named Locke, who said he was sent there by Castle Plague to report on the mutineers, who had recently taken up hold of Craster's Keep. Theon would tell him who they had captured, and Locke would agree to help Theon rescue the others. They would wait till nightfall to attack. Theon would tell him he has but one arrow, and Locke would joke that that's all they need. If they made it this far north, then the mutineers would be easy to deal with. Theon shook Locke's hand, and they both moved on towards the camp, to whatever fate had in store for them. And that, guys, is the quick interlude chapter of Theon Greyjoy in my ongoing Jon Snow fanfic, actually. Initially, this was part of the story, but I had taken it out as I wanted it to be like its own self-contained chapter, and I think I'll be doing that basically with the Theon plot points, at least until they fully connect with the main story. And yeah, by the time this video comes out, I think the premiere of the Jon Snow video will be shortly arriving, if not already posted. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked the video, if you liked the story, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, all that jazz. I have been your host, JD, and this has been the Writer's Cantina. See ya.